I recently gave an interview. I spoke with Mario Nafal of current state of Russian economy and the latest on Russian-Ukrainian war. The interview caught the eye of Alexander Dugin, Russian far-right political philosopher and propaganda activist, best known as Putin's brain, the chief architect of the Russian world ideology. This is what Dugin said about me. This is a coward fleeing Russia with zero influence. To rely on his opinions is simply ridiculous. Pure Russophobia destined to grant him asylum in the US, what he doesn't receive because of total uselessness. Then Alexander Dugin went one step further. He reposted my interview on his X account, making it available to all his subscribers. Yes, I am very scared by that. My name is Konstantin Samoilov. I am a Russian activist, the founder of Tashkent Breakfast Club, the Russian-Ukrainian support community in Uzbekistan. And many of you know me as the host of YouTube channel called Inside Russia. I have been fighting for my country since 2022, trying to bring peace and change. My weapon is YouTube. I share the truth of Russia on YouTube, documenting country's constant transformation. The events, the people, the society, the laws, the actions, the freedoms, the propaganda, the economy, everything I find significant, I document and share with the world. I find it very important to tell the truth about Russia because it's scarce these days. There's a huge, powerful propaganda machine backed by 141 billion rubles. That's the amount in Russian federal budget allocated for mass media, read propaganda, in 2025. With tens of thousands of people working around the clock, aiming to engineer your opinion of Russia to their liking. I use a different approach. I give you the truth and want you to make your own opinion of Russia based on that truth. I search for small details that aren't found and covered by mainstream media, but when combined together, they paint a big picture of what's happening. And that picture is ugly, by the way. I'm doing it absolutely alone. Everything. Monitoring the news, picking the most significant ones, analyzing, commenting, preparing messages, writing articles, giving interviews, recording videos and live streaming. Just me, no one else. Until recently, I even designed my own YouTube thumbnails. Big mistake, by the way. I don't have a budget. No organization or a country or anyone finances me. Moreover, I'm not even earning anything from Google. It has demonetized Inside Russia for the reasons unknown. The only money I receive are donations. People buy me coffees at buymecoffee.com. They become patrons of Inside Russia Patreon account, and sometimes they send me money through PayPal. That's it. That's the only income I receive. I am feeling tiny against 141 billion ruble large Russian propaganda machine. David against Goliath. A speck of dust, really. But do you know what? A speck of dust doesn't get noticed and commented and reposted by all-powerful Putinist Alexander Dugin. I must be doing something right. Now, I want to address and answer Alexander Dugin's comment here. Who is Dugin anyway? He is a Russian far-right ideologue and political philosopher, often described in the West as Putin's brain. He is the main architect of so-called neo-Eurasianism, or the Russian world. He has spent decades promoting the idea that Russia must build a new Eurasian empire and confront the decadent liberal West. He openly supports the war against Ukraine and Russian imperial expansion. His books and lectures circulate among Russia's nationalist circles, and some of his ideas have clearly seeped into the wider pro-Kremlin ecosystem. He has strong personal influence on Vladimir Putin. In simple terms, Dugin is one of the loudest intellectual voices trying to give Russia's authoritarian turn and its wars a grand philosophical justification. Now, Dugin calls me a coward fleeing Russia with zero influence. I am anything but coward. I made the decision to go public, to stand tall speaking the truth of Russia and the war it's waging on Ukraine. I am on the radar of the Russian state, regularly followed by the KGB agents where I live. I live in constant fear because of that. I am also pressured by Google. It demonetized me and refusing to remonetize for what I believe standing up tall against Russian state. Now, why would Google do that? I don't know. On top of that, the American government doesn't fancy me much. It denied the relatives' petition of my daughter, born and raised U.S. citizen, on my behalf, due to the U.S. government was not convinced that my daughter was my daughter, although we submitted over 600 pages of evidence, including American-issued birth certificate. I attended the protest meetings in Russia and documented them, including posting them here on YouTube. All videos are still here. You can search and watch them. And the latest blow is this comment by Alexander Dugin. It's the Kremlin's black spot to me. Now, if I were a coward, I would simply stop, because it's too scary. There are plenty of Russians who have stopped, and I keep going. With all my due respect, Alexander, I am anything but coward. I am Christian, a father of 5 children, a husband and a son, and I have a lot of people who rely on me, and that makes it all these threats even scarier. But despite being very scared, I keep on going. I have guts and courage and honor. And as for having zero influence, well, you, Alexander, taking time to watch my conversation with Mario, commenting on it and reposting it, making me aware to your hundreds of thousands of followers, you wouldn't do that to anyone with zero influence, would you? I am the David, after all. I am a shepherd living in exile, homeless and wearing no armor. My sling is my tongue. Dugin says that to rely on my opinions is simply ridiculous. Now, I am a believer of free choice. I believe people make their own choices who to believe, and if no one pressures them, people make right choices. Over 110 million people watched my daily messages. I never force my opinions on anyone, I simply give food for thought. So, is Dugin calling 110 million people who have trusted me, is he calling them ridiculous? 110 million people ridiculous? Well, that's ridiculous. Dugin says that my messages are pure Russophobia, destined to grant me asylum in the US, and what I doesn't receive because of total uselessness. Now, interesting how Dugin knows so much about me. I didn't say anything of that in the interview. How does he know? Now, how can I be Russophobic? I am Russian, born and raised. My parents and family are Russian. My children are Russian. 3 of them have Russian as the first language. After having lived in the USA for 9 years, I returned to Russia because I loved it. I wanted to live among my own. I wanted to speak Russian. I wanted my children to go to Russian school, speak Russian, and be around the Russian family. Now, that's changed, but not because me turning Russophobic, but because my country has gone mad. Open your eyes and see what's going on around. And after all that, Dugin is calling me Russophobic? Very unfair. And by the way, after every live stream, I pray and ask God, Jesus Christ, to help Russia, to assemble his army of the strongest angels, armed with sharp swords, have Saint Michael, Archangel Michael, lead that God's army to get rid of the demons who have hijacked Russia, who we all know by their faces and by their names well, and help good Russians to run their country so it becomes peaceful, loving, and respecting. Now, praying for that every day, how that could be Russophobic. And after all, I have not applied for political asylum in America. I never had intentions to do so, and I will not do that in the future. America doesn't fancy much, considers me an undesirable element for some unknown reason. I would love to find a home in America, but political asylum certainly is not the right way, at least in my books. Europe also considers me a threat to a point where I am not even allowed to apply for any visa from where I live, even for a tourist one. I have no home and no protection anywhere, and no sympathy from the Western bureaucracy. I am hanging by a thread. And receiving this message, the black spot from the powerful Alexander Dugin, is very scary. I consider it a hostile action against me. It actually is hard to explain how scary it is and how scared I am. Friends, I want you to know something. I love my life. No matter how hard and unsettling it is, no matter how hard to be homeless and seeing your country demising and the wars going on, I am surrounded by my family, my wife and children. I have love in my life. I have God in my life. I have no intentions of taking it. If something happens to me, please know it's not me, no matter what they would say. I am afraid of heights these days and always stay away from windows. I pray to God to send me safety, but with Dugin after me, I hope everything will be all right. And in case anything happens, I want you to know it's been an honor. Thank you very much for being a part of Inside Russia community, for your precious time, for messages, for praying along with me, and for your love. Please know that you have been a life changer in my life. I'm not going anywhere. If anything, I am